What's up YouTube, Melo Automatic? We are back again, it's another Friday, so it's time for a deck profile. But this time, we are on to the Lyrical pool. And those that know me know there's one Lyrical deck that stands out above the rest, and we can't start anywhere other than Best Girl in Kairi. So this is going to be my grade 4 Kairi list. This is the Friends version. There is going to be a version coming out down the line which is Celestial focused, because I've actually really been enjoying the Celestial stuff alongside Kairi. So that will be coming down the line in a separate video. But for this time we are doing basic Friends Kairi. There more likely will also be a pure version once I actually get around to testing it a bit more, but that one is miles away at this point. So to start off with our ride line. So obviously starter, we have Astesice Neon, usual starter. Then we have Astesice Kanami. Sorry, Nanami. I get this Kanami and Nanami mixed up. This has got the skill of, when it's used placed on Vanguard Circle, you may choose a grade 1 or lower card from your drop zone and call it to the rearguard circle at rest. So basically, whatever you discard for the ride into this, as long as it's grade 1 or lower, you're calling it to the rearguard circle. So there are grade 1s that actually come, there's a grade 1 that combos up quite nicely with this. But mainly you might end up discarding a trigger, which calling a trigger would seem bad until you look at Astesice Kiura. Astesice Kiura's got the skill of, when this unit attacks, you can choose one of your rear guards, and you may return it back to your hand. So obviously you've discarded a crit trigger for this, for example. You've lost shield. This now turns around and says, oh, the card that you called off of this, put it back in your hand. So it creates really nice combos. It makes you less punished by discarding your triggers in the early game. All in all, really solid cards. But we need those in the solve for other reasons, which I'll explain further down the line. And then we finish up with Astesice Kairi. So Kairi is obviously the boss unit of the deck. This is our grade 3 version. She's got two skills. First one is, when this unit attacks, you can Soul Blast 1, choose up to 2 of your rear guards and return it to your hand. Second skill is, also Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle this unit attacked. If you Persona Road this turn, choose up to 2 cards from your hand and call them to rearguard circles in different rows. So this is our School Étoile Olivia, for those that played in G format. She bounces rear guards, calls them back down again. She does call them down post triggers though, so you can't obviously put triggers onto the units you call. But if you've got boosters, you can obviously put them on the boosters, and really nice. Does enable 4 attacks, which is really nice for the deck. We are, however, going to start from the higher grades work down with this one, because you need to see the higher grades to see why the lower grade stuff actually works. So, starting off with the highest grade of them all, we have our grade 4, and that is good old Astesice X Live Kairi. So, Kairi has got the skill of Continuous Vanguard Circle. All of your rear guards placed this turn get power plus 5000. So, really generic skill. And second skill is, when this unit attacks, if your soul has a card with Kairi in its card name, choose up to 2 of your rear guards, return them to your hand, and then choose 2 cards from your hand and call them to the rearguard circle. So, key thing to note is the bounce back to hand is optional, but the call from hand to rearguard circle is mandatory. So, if you've got no rear guards, you could literally swing Vanguard, bounce nothing, call 2. Because you have to call 2 no matter what. So you do have to be careful of that, and the plus 5k on the turn they're placed may seem bad, but when you're thinking about it, you can have grade 2s in your front row, choose to intercept with them during your opponent's turn, so you then create the empty circles for you then to call units down again on your turn, and they'll gain their 5000 power. All in all, Kairi's a very strong card. Next up, we do actually still run 2 copies of Astesice Kairi, the grade 3 version, because Persona Ride is still very strong in this deck, and having this there, just in case you don't hit the Astesice X Live Kairi, is really nice backup. Last grade 3 we run is 2 copies of Bashful Striver Kinky. Kinky's got the skill of, when his unit is placed on rearguard circle, choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with Astesice in its card name from your drop, and you put it into your soul. If you put a card into your soul, you may then counterblast 1, and then this unit gets power plus 10,000 at end of turn. So obviously, this is why we run an Astesice Ride, one of the reasons we run an Astesice Ride line. So obviously if we Soul Blast Kiora, for example, with Kairi skill, we can then use Kinky to put Kiora back into Soul again, to then Soul Blast out again at a later date. It does say, obviously, grade 2 or lower, less normal unit, so you can't put Kairi's into Soul in case you're forced to lose a Kairi in Soul due to Seraph Pure Light. And you can't put triggers into Soul either, because we do have 2 Aces triggers, the crit and the heal. Those can't be put into Soul either, because there is another card that would then make it too strong, is the best way to put it. So, moving on to the grade 2s next. We run, our friend package is 4 copies of Hopping Stellar Melty. Now, Melty's got the interesting skill of Friend. If you have another unit in the same column as this unit, that unit and this unit then become friends. That skill in this deck doesn't actually matter too much, so we're fine with that. The second skill, however, is where she's really shining. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle during your main phase, you can counterblast 1, choose up to 1 card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and call it to the rearguard circle. If you called a card, you draw a card. So this is literally counterblast 1, draw a card pretty much, because you'd call her down and call the unit you're going to call down anyway. So counterblast 1 to draw a card, really solid. Gets you the hand advantage up, and the deck doesn't really counterblast that much. So having her, which you can then bounce back with Astesice Live Kairi, Astesice Kairi, to then reuse again the following turn, really solid gameplay. Next card up is I run 4 copies of Elegance Moment Lopil. Now, Lopil's a very interesting one for the fact of her skill. She's got the skill of, when this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, reveal a card with Kairi in its card name from your hand, and this unit gets shield power plus 10,000 until end of that battle. So this is an extra 15k shield in the deck, which, with us not wanting to guard with our grade 2s half the time due to the fact of we're wanting them for combo plays, having this as an extra 15k shield alongside our triggers, really solid. It also benefits, because obviously we're running the 2 base rarity 2 base Kairis. So we do actually have 6 Kairis in deck to proc off the plus 10k shield. Then our last grade 2 is 2 copies of Charming Style Setzilla. Now Setzilla's got the skill of, when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle from hand, if you have 3 or more other rearguards, you can counterblast 1 and draw a card. So this goes off really nicely if you're calling her from Astesice Live Kairi, because obviously Melty only works in the main phase. So calling Setzilla in the battle phase due to Astesice Live Kairi is an extra counterblast 1 draw card. So these 2 work really nicely in tandem with each other, and you honestly won't see one without the other. Next up is the grade 1s, and we have got the obvious 4 Perfect Guards. Same Perfect Guard that you see throughout the all of D format. When placed on Guardian Circle, negates the attack, and if you've got 2 or more cards in your hand, discard a card. You'll never not be using 4 Perfect Guards in Kairi, is the honest response. Next up is the other part of the needing the Astesice Ride line that I was talking about at the beginning, and this is Next Stage La Plume. Now, Next Stage La Plume's got the interesting skill of, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with Astesice in its card name, choose a grade 2 or less with Astesice in its card name from your soul, and call it to the open rearguard circle at rest. If you called it during the battle phase, that card gets called at stand instead. So obviously this is our ideal discard turn 1 for the Ride deck, because obviously you'll discard La Plume, ride into Astesice Nanami. Nanami's skill will then activate, calling now La Plume from the drop zone to the rearguard circle at rest. The Plume will then activate, because it's obviously been placed on rearguard circle. Your Vanguard's Astesice. and it will call out Astesice Meon from your soul to rest as well. So you're generating La Plume as a free unit for having discarded it for Nanami, and you're then generating Meon as another free unit to have a nice bit of early aggro. Yes, they're called at rest, but they're then boosters for the following turn. She also obviously has the upside of it being battle phase calling up stand. So what you can do for that play is, say you've attacked with Astesice X Live Kairi, but you've attacked one side with just the front row and the other side is a full column. So what you can do is you can bounce the full column and then call Astesice X Live, call next stage of Plume by herself, and then call the front row that you bounced on top of the other rear guard. So you've got a full column on the left hand side again. And then use Astesice X, then use next stage of Plume skill, sorry, to then call Astesice Kiura out of the soul. I'm going to bring this up here because obviously Astesice Kiura has got a second skill, which is on the rear guard circle, which ties in beautifully with La Plume. Of when she attacks, if she's boosted, she gets power plus 5,000. So obviously, got 8 from La Plume, 10 from Kiura, so that's 18k, plus 5k from Kiura's skill, makes 23. Then Astesice X Live Kairi on top of that gives another 5k to each of them because they're both pulled this turn. That's a 33k column for no cost whatsoever. And then obviously you can then intercept with the Kiura and then use King Key to then put the Kiura back into soul again, ready for plays with La Plume. All in all, it's a very, very good combo card and really useful for the deck. The final card is 4 copies of Beware of Overeating Eileen. Honestly, the best card in this set, hands down. Eileen's got the skill of, when this unit boosts a rear guard, you look at the top card of your deck and put it either on the top or the bottom of your deck. So, with that play we were talking about earlier, of boosting with a full column and bouncing it, that's the ideal time you'd want to boost with Eileen, because Eileen's then seeing the top card before you're performing your drive checks. But Eileen can also be used defensively as well. So you can use it post your Vanguard having swung, to then look at the top card, see if you can hit a defensive, so you then know what you can and can't guard with during your next turn. All in all, very, very good card, and going to be a long time staple for most Lyrical decks as a whole, honestly. It is so generic. Right, then for triggers, we have the usual 4 heal triggers. We have the 4 effect draw triggers, because we do now have these. So obviously Baratol does have the skill of, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets shield plus 5,000 when placed in the Guardian Circle. So a nice 10k shield for the deck is really good. Because 10k is a number that's been missing from this format for a while, and having these draws do it, beautiful. We then do run 7 crits, so we're running 3 normal crits, and we are actually running 4 copies of the soul crits. The reason I'm running the soul crits in this list is because we do have unmatching numbers sometimes. So we do have 8Ks boosting a 13k King Key, which the 2k then makes a magic number. We do sometimes have the 9k Setsilla boosting by a 8k booster. That's a 17k. The 2k fixes that for magic numbers. And the fact of, in the Seraph Pure Light matchup, we are very weak to, if we lose Kairi in Soul, we then have to find another Astesice X Live Kairi to re-ride over. So having this in here gives us extra cards we can put into Soul to then Soul Blast out instead of the Kairi when we're facing off against Pure Light. Yes, you have got King Key to help with that as well, but if you've ended up having to already get rid of these to prison, King Key then can't put them from drop to prison if they're not in the drop. And obviously the last card trigger we run is the over trigger. So, other suggestions you can use for the deck. There is the additional, if you don't want to use the Lopil and extra Kairi engine, you can increase your friends package. And by that, you've got the grade 2 Cheshire that says gains plus 2k for every one of your other friends. You've also got the likes of Ducala, which is when your friend is placed in this column, if you've got 3 other friends, draw a card. So extra draw power for the deck. You've also got 10k booster, that's a friends booster. There's so much options you can do flexibility. I'll obviously have flicked the cards up on screen at the appropriate times for the ones I'm talking about, because I'm not amazing with names, I will be blunt over that. You can even increase the kinky line to numbers from 2 to 3 by taking some of these cards out. If you're taking these cards out, you can put more Setsillas in. You can even go more pure by taking out the friends package, as I was talking about. There's so much potential you can do with this deck. But that is going to be it for this deck profile. If you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.